This video is about how I organize and optimize my sewing space for productivity. And if you're interested in finding that out, keep on watching. Hello, my name is Juliet Uzor of sewsonatural.com. I create content surrounding creating your own clothes, owning your style, and showcasing them for everyone to see. If that sounds like something you're interested in, then I'd really appreciate it if you join the family. Click on the subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it so you'll be notified when next I upload a video. The key priority for using this space, this sewing space that used to be our storage room, our toddler's playroom, our dining room, which has finally been turned into my sewing space, has always been to use it to its full potential. And now that this room has turned completely into my space, my office, a place where I do everything that I do, where I create clothes for clients, where I film videos, where I create content for magazines and whatever it is, I have had using the room to its full potential at the back of my mind, which is the reason why I decided to share this with you, so you would always remember to use whatever space you have. Wherever you've created your special space, my key message is to use your space to its full potential. When we speak about full potential, we're talking about the use of your space. We're talking about having your space where all your equipment, your gadgets, your resources are reachable. You want everything to be at a place where you can easily reach them, because your workspace, your sewing space, is like it's sacred to you. You want it to be comfortable, but you also still want to be able to reach things, which is the reason why I have the things laid out in the format that they're laid out. Even though I want things to look aesthetically pleasing, because who doesn't want a pretty room, I also want things to be practical. I don't want things that I can't reach. So I want to make every space count, but at the same time, make sure it's practical and accessible. Very recently, I added a new chair that was ergonomically safe for me to my collection. I used to use a dining chair. Lately, I've done a lot of reading surrounding optimizing your sewing space and making sure that it's nice and safe for you. And one of the key things that came up was making sure that your table, your chair, and your area are ergonomically safe for you. And when I say that, I mean we do not want to use chairs that would, over a long period of time, cause damage to our backs. We also want to make sure that the table we're using for our cutting and for our sewing are at a level where we are not having to crouch over to use them. Another thing to bear in mind when you're organizing your sewing space is making sure that you have access to good natural light. And when I say good natural light, I mean bright window light. You want to make sure that you have access to really good, powerful white lights that mimic daylight, because they help your eyes. We're working with tiny little stitches. Our eyes are working very hard when we sew, and we want to make sure that we have really good lighting, because we do not want to damage our eyes. So it's really important to make sure that our sewing areas are well lit. Another thing that I really had in mind whilst I was organizing my sewing space was making sure that it was easy to clean. I have a bin right next to my sewing table. I've also got a little pot where I put some threads whilst I'm sewing. This does help me to ensure that I do not cause a lot of mess when I'm working here, and it's easy to clean because I do not have a lot of things on the floor. Use your wall spaces as much as you can to make sure you do not have a lot of things on the floor, so your room space is easy to clean. Another thing that I had to bear in mind was decluttering my space. I had to declutter my space to a great extent and give away a lot of fabric, because at some point I had fabric, a mountain of fabric, and it was using up floor space. It was just clutter, stuff that I knew that I wouldn't use. So I just had to declutter my space. So it's really worth decluttering your space to make sure your space is just easy to work around. You don't get put off when you walk into your room because it just doesn't feel appealing. Because at the end of the day, your space, it should be your happy place. It should be where you're at your most productive. So you want to make sure that you have less clutter in your space. I've also found that when my space is cluttered, it slows me down. I don't know what it is, but I think it's just something, it's a mental thing where you just don't want to be as productive as possible when you are in a space full of clutter. So it's really worth taking out time to declutter your space. I had to take time out to clear this room out, clear things out that I knew that I won't be making in the next year or so, and give them away. I gave some away and I sold some. So here we have it. My space feels, I feel more efficient. I feel like it's uncluttered, and I feel like I have everything at hand, and I can be at my most productive in my room, in my space, because I do all my work in here. And what benefit would it be to me if my room is not appealing to me? So I really challenge you. I really encourage you to take a day or an evening out to just clear out your space, organize your stash, organize your resources, your equipment, and make sure everything is at hand so you can access them when you need them and you can be at your most productive. I do hope to see you in my next video. If you are not following me on Instagram, I would really appreciate it if you took a moment to follow me on Instagram at Juliet Uzor_, and I will see you very soon in my next video. All the best. Take care.